Well, welcome to the Hamilton County Coaches Show. I'm Perry Williams, and alongside me is Jake Gilbert, the coach of the Westfield Shamrocks. Welcome, Coach.
Good to have you back. Thanks.
Well, we're season 2.0 right now,
absolutely.
Right? So really all these papers and stats and all this doesn't really mean much coming in here, does it?
Well, it does. It depends if you twist it in your favor or against you. But, yeah, it means something. But it's a fresh start for everybody in Indiana.
Absolutely. Coach, 6A football is a little bit different this past week. 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A, and part of 5A kicked off the sectional this week for the run to Lucas Oil. But 6A, with only 32 teams, you get that bye.
Yep.
Health-wise and coaching-wise, how important is that week for 6A football coaches and players?
I love it. I think it's a chance because it's a long year, not just the season. I mean, the off-season, the summer. So heading into the playoffs, a week off to just get refreshed and refocused for the players and the coaches, it's a great thing. So I'm a big fan. The health of some of your players, if you're physically injured, that's a good thing. And then it obviously gives you a little more time to plan, but your opponent has that same time as well, But I think it's pretty good to have a good mental break for your team. I know we had won the sectional 4 years in a row, and the season gets long. It's good to have a little breather in there where you can give your kids a couple days off. Yeah,
and you take a look at, if you have some players that have been plagued with little nagging injuries, you can this past week you could have set them out a little bit and not, had a lot of contact and everything like that, or
definitely
if they were nursing colds, because a lot of times this time of year, with their bodies are run down.
Yeah, if you play in a tough league like ours or like Carmel's, then you're going to have some kids banged up. So it's good for recovery.
Well, Coach, you do the Carmel Greyhounds, and the one thing about it, you have to play them sometime.
Yep.
So you got them the first game right out of the gate. And, the one thing about it, you look at statistics, and, of course, you enjoy history and all that type thing. You were both at Lucas Oil in 2016. So and so both of you have been there before. So
yeah. Kids on both teams have won the state championship, and now we're playing to try to advance towards another. But yes, we actually practiced in the same building that week at Grand Park on the indoor, and so kind of a neat shared history.
Absolutely, Coach. Let's talk a little bit about, because in my mind the Greyhounds come in 7-2. They play in a MIC. They lost to Center Grove, and of course they lost to Warren Central, which is a great football team. And you hear people talk, and Warren Central may be the best team in the state, but anything can happen come tournament time.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to take down Warren Central, tournament time or not. But in terms of anything else, absolutely. That's why you play the game. So they're battle tested, and for any team, when you get to this time of year, your sophomores play like juniors, and your juniors play like seniors, and your seniors, they either get you there or they don't. And so it's a time of year where your whole team has improved and progressed, and I'm sure they're a much better football team than they were at the beginning of the year, and so are we.
Absolutely. Coach, let's talk a little bit, because in my mind of looking at statistics and numbers and watching some video with both teams, Carmel and Westfield, and obviously Westfield being in the Hoosier Crossroad Conference, I'm much more familiar with them than the Greyhounds, but I know John Ebert and the great job he does over there. But both teams are very, very similar. They like to run the ball, okay? And last week or 2 weeks ago against Lawrence Central, they basically ran the ball. They didn't throw the ball much at all. So what are you kind of looking about them? And, of course, they've decided on a quarterback over there, because early on they were going with a platoon system, every other for, first 2 or 3 games maybe.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about the Greyhounds on offense.
Well, they do run the ball, and they run the ball very well. So for us to have any chance, we'd have to stop the run. Their best running back has been out, Downing. He's exceptional, and I really like the kid that's come in.
Yeah, White, 292 last week.
Yeah, so impressive.
Yeah, so
hard physical runners. If you don't tackle well, they're going to run through you. Very well coached up front, big linemen as usual for Carmel, and other good blockers in there too, like their fullback. They use him really, really well. I think he's a very good player. Tight end's a good versatile kid, and they run it, and then if you fall asleep, they'll hit Williams for a post or throw it to 14. I mean, they've got some good players out there in the skill, even though they don't throw it as much as some teams. That's not because they're not talented.
Yes.
At receiver. The quarterback he's a good player. He's kind of elusive. He's a 200-pound kid. He runs. He's fast, and he's made some big throws this year to win games and things like that. But he's hard to bring down as a runner. So very talented on offense. They not a huge surprise that they're going to run the football, but you better put on your big boy pants if you're going to stop it.
Yeah. Coach, let's talk a little bit about them on the defensive side, because they got 2 or 3 players up front that are D1 football players.
Sure.
I mean, they're very, very talented there. They love to rush the quarterback. They have several sacks this season. Let's talk a little bit about that defense.
Well, it may be the best defense I've seen since I've been here. We had a really good defense the year we won state. These guys are exceptional. Cole Brevard at nose guard, he's a load and hard to move. And then his backup comes in, and he's a great athlete. So they kind of give you 2 different looks. The 2 DNs are super, super players. 44 maybe, I don't know if he gets the press because the other defensive end is a Division I player and has absolutely earned and deserved that. He's phenomenal, 41. And then the nose guard.
Is that Robinson?
Yeah, he's terrific. But I'm saying the other defensive end's dang good. On any other year, when the other 2 guys beside you didn't have Division I scholarships, he would get a lot of publicity. But I think their front is about as good as you could put together in high school football. They're exceptional. I love their corners, outside backers or studs. There's not a lot of weakness on their defense. Just to be honest with you, this is the best defense we've seen by far.
Okay. Coach, health-wise and attitude-wise, I'm sure you had a good practice last week, and the kids and you have watched a lot of film and probably will watch much more film between now. So, the one thing about it, and with technology today, there's really not too many secrets, and you just gotta do a lot of different things to give them some looks that they haven't seen before, which is almost impossible to do. But you have to do a lot of schemes, a lot of disguising.
Yeah, I mean, yes and no. I mean, it's the playoffs, and you can try to trick them and reinvent the wheel, or you can just do what you do well. At a certain point, you probably have to have a little bit of both. I mean, to beat a team like Carmel, sure, there needs to be some new wrinkles, but in the end of the day, Carmel out-executes people. I mean, they're disciplined, they're well-coached, their kids execute. And so to do a whole bunch of new stuff, you're probably not going to execute as well as the things that you've done all along. So you better make sure that you can execute what you do against them, which is a tall order. You need to spend a lot of time practicing that. But then, obviously, you better have a couple new things that they haven't seen or prepared for. But yeah, I just think if you spend too much time on that, that may not work either.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's talk a little bit about your offense, because you had some injuries early on and lost some players, but at the quarterback position, you were always excited about Cam and him playing, and I believe as a whole he's improved quite a bit from the beginning of the season to where we are now.
Well, it's obvious in our wins, Cam has played lights out and has been terrific. So we need him to play great for us to win. It's pretty simple. And he can be flat out a great player. I mean, he can run the ball, he can throw the ball with accuracy, be a great decision maker, which is important. He's an exceptional leader. So, yeah, we need the best out of Camden Simons, and you know what, he's dying to deliver his best. So, love that kid, grateful that we have him, and excited to see what he can do in this environment.
Defensively, you've done a pretty good job this season, and on the defensive side, how do you feel going into this game with the Greyhound offense, some of the things that you might have to really, really be ready for? Obviously, that running game.
Yeah, that's a big thing. They're substantially bigger than us. Will we be able to sustain tackling for 4 quarters? That's one thing. If they're going to just try to run over us physically, will we be big and strong enough to stay in there and make that tackle play after play after play, knowing that they're probably going to have 2 excellent fresh backs running at us and some physical blockers. So that would be the thing that I think a lot of it's going to come down to. I would not anticipate them giving us anything, in terms of a lot of silly mistakes on their part. I don't think that's their MO. Again, that they're excellent when it comes to execution. So, hopefully we can force them into some mistakes, but they're not going to give us anything.
Yeah. And the one good thing, it's just down the road. I was thinking the other day I had to go over there because Hamilton County TV is going to be broadcasting your game, okay? So we'll be over there, but so I went. We had not broadcast at Carmel, okay, or I had not. So we went over there to check everything's out and everything. And I know the atmosphere will be electric over there at Carmel. And I sometimes think, as far away as some of the kids have to park, your bus ride's almost shorter than what they have to walk to the school.
Yeah.
But the one great thing and advantage you have, this is a great football community, okay? And they're only right down the road. I mean, it's not going to be a bad bus ride for you, Coach. I mean, it'll probably take you longer to load up than it does drive down there to the Carmel Stadium. So I'm sure
I usually get a nap on the bus ride. I'm not sure I'm going to get that in this time.
What about so the crowd's going to be, but the way your fans are here and how they pack that stadium, that's probably not going to affect you guys much, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of people down there, especially if the weather's halfway decent,
Sure. Well, we haven't played Carmel, so I don't know. I don't know if people will say, they have no chance, we're not going, or if people say, hey, I can't wait to see how they measure up against Carmel. So hopefully the latter. Hopefully we have a great turnout and great fan support. I would be a little disappointed if we didn't.
Yeah.
But, I haven't thought about the logistics of the trip and all that. Not too much. So it'll be interesting for sure.
That's the one thing when I interview coaches. Of course, we don't have any 5A or 4A teams, but the 3A and the 1A teams that we have in this county, when they go to sectional, they have, like Heights went to Montgomery County last week and that type, and of course Garin got Crawfordsville here, but and Bud went to Tri Central, but so there are some travel, and they the further they go, the further they have to travel, and you're kind of used in 6A football being in the Hoosier Crossroad Conference. I mean, you don't have to go very far.
No, not too bad.
Yeah. So we're kind of lucky there. Well, Coach, I wish you the best, and I know there's going to be a big crowd down there, and I know that Craig Atkins and I are very, very excited to go to Carmel and call that game between Carmel and Westfield. And I, for one, think it's going to be a pretty good football team because, I talk a little bit about, the one thing about it in our sectional, we have 3 coaches that have been to Lucas Oil, so it's not of the 4. So, it's not we're not strangers, and we understand how to win football games.
Yeah,
so
that is true.
So I wish you the best of luck, and I'll see you Friday night at Carmel.
Okay, thanks,
Coach.
Appreciate it.
All right, thanks.